Have you ever wanted to learn the art of negotiation? If that is the case, oh boy, I've got a video for you. These are the exact tactics and strategies that I've used in the previous video on how I saved $400 of my business plan in order to get to that result and still maintain a positive relationship with the service that provided that. Signori, this is Elia from eliacanu.com. Here we help people getting closer to who they're destined to become. And in this video, we're speaking about the art of negotiation and why you're gonna be using that every single day, even though you think you may not. Point number one. Negotiation is an agreement. Therefore, be careful when you say take it or leave it, because you do want, in most negotiations, leave the other part the choice to keep on going with it instead of necessarily cutting it off. That being said, don't necessarily stop to an agreement, because when it comes to negotiation, conflict is to be expected. And we could go as far as saying that negotiations without conflict are not necessarily good negotiations. You want to leave the other side completely clueless on what your intentions are and what are your opinions and your thoughts on the scenario that you are having. In a negotiation, don't speak on numbers right away. And even if you do, don't necessarily stop there, but instead something that you can do is ask the question, how am I supposed to meet that? Regarding possibly an offer, possibly something that the other person has suggested. And don't just stop there, simply because what you would want to do in those scenarios is speak of ranges of price. So let's say from $134 to $176 instead of $150, which is actually the amount that you had in mind in the first place. And also you want to give the other person the opinion that you deeply thought about one particular number, and that was the one thing that is the maximum that you can offer. That is actually one of the strategies that I used in my email, if you remember from the last video. And in that case, I was willing to spend $1,000, but instead I went with $965, simply because that may have worked, may have not. It gave the other person the opinion that that was the maximum that I was willing to spend. So practices that you can use in a negotiation are things such as effective pauses, so silence. A silence is a really powerful tool simply because it's gonna help a lot to keep them talking, you know. Something else is mirroring. So literally just repeating the same things that person has been saying, of course. So you can use sentences such as, it looks like you're feeling like this. It seems like you're feeling like that. That is also labeling, so actually labeling exactly what it is that they're feeling. I kind of ended up merging the two in a way. I feel like that has helped me a lot when it comes to my negotiations. Something else that you can do is use minimal encouragers, simply because you're gonna give the idea that you're really assured of yourself, and therefore you don't need those kind of fillers in order to fill in the conversation and make the other person feel good. And last thing is actually paraphrasing. Therefore, whenever somebody says something, show that you actually heard to that particular thing and just say that in a different way. That person is gonna feel a boost of empathy towards you, simply because they remember that you actually listened to them and you understood their message enough in order to paraphrase it. I do realize that all these things are quite a bit. Therefore, I would suggest you to actually take notes on this, because that is literally what I did when it comes to all this knowledge, because all the things I learned on negotiation actually came from reading books about the subject. And I mean, if you can learn like 2 books on negotiation in like 10 minutes, that's quite a good deal, you know. In negotiation, it's really important for you to leverage emotions. Emotions are an extremely powerful tool in this subject. You can use sentences such as, I want you to believe that you're being treated fairly at all times. So stop me if you feel like you're being treated unfairly, and we will address it. This is extremely powerful simply because it boosts your empathy and your perceived social value, simply because you're socially aware of what is going on, and therefore you are empathetic enough to understand the situation. Something else that you can use is this simple sentence that I actually used in my previous video in the emails, and that is, this is really embarrassing, but I cannot do that. I kind of felt a little bad when I used this, but honestly it worked. Therefore I'm not really feeling guilty about it. What it does is it allows the other person to again feel empathy in your situation, and therefore hopefully lower down their price of their service. Another thing that I want you to do is don't talk so much, just listen. We're all emotionally driven individuals and we all like to win. Therefore, if you can actually just listen to what it is that the other person is asking for, you can probably find the right tools in order for you to get to an agreement. Another thing that you can do is don't say their name so much. I mean, use it simply because it's a powerful tool in your arsenal. However, you can do something else that is actually extremely clever, and it is using your own name. That is powerful simply because it humanizes yourself in the negotiation. Another tip is literally spend a lot of time with the other part, simply because they will be much more likely to gain trust over time. In this specific example, there is also this thing called the sunk cost fallacy that is related to this, but I don't want to get too much in depth into this video, simply because it's one of my first videos on negotiation, and I might eventually make a course on this subject in the future. Last tip before I wrap this off is always leave the door open, because you never know that one person might really come back to you and eventually accept your offer. Therefore, you can say sentences such as, I hope you get what you're looking for. However, if you don't, feel free to call me anytime. Signore, this has been Elia from eliacanu.com. As you know, here we help people getting closer to who they're destined to become. And if you like this video, please let me know in the comments. If you're interested into learning further, I made an ebook on how to thrive in high pressure situations. I really do think that it's going to be able to help you a lot. And if you're interested into connecting with me, you can find me on Instagram at Canu Elia, and I will see you soon with the next video. Ciao, alla prossima.